The Freedom of Information Act is simply an act that allows every Nigerian citizen to obtain information from government agencies, all government agencies and their operations.
Information is power. And once you don't have access to such information, your power is limited. So access to information is quite key. And one of the instruments that will grant us that liberty to have access to information is the Freedom of Information Act 2011, which was signed into law. So basically, we can say access to information is like the lubricant on which organization ride on to drive the agenda. Whatever activity you're doing is rely on that agenda, either in your programming, either in your projects. You need to have adequate information to be able to drive that process. Now, if you lack that information, it means therefore that you're driving without headlights.
As a person living with disability, access to information in my daily life is the ability to get information about what is happening around me, both in my nearest surrounding and in the country as a whole and the world as a whole, and also what to do next in every situation. For instance, curfew and many others like that.
Youth must care about access to government information, because access to government information is access to their future. Politics, budget, and decisions are made today directly affect our opportunities tomorrow. When the youth demand transparency, we are not asking questions. We are shaping accountability, reducing corruption, and ensuring that resources meant for development reach community.
From the grassroots at the local government level, trying to get a budget of the local government and see what is there for the people, for us. And unfortunately, we couldn't access it because for them it's like a monster. And unfortunately, some of the legislators also don't seem to understand the budget. They only see it, they bring it to them, they pass it, and that's all. They are not involved in making the budget. It's the technical or technocrats, the workers there that make the budget. And without the inputs of the people, that is the sad thing about it. And budget is supposed to be for everybody, for all of us, and people should be involved in coming up with a budget. Unfortunately, that's not the case.
If they can't supply that information within 7 days, they will have to inform the person who has asked for it that they can't get it in 7 days, and they will ask for an extension of time within which to supply that information.
If you look at what even the federal government is doing under the Federal Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, if there are no information on ground for them to know where there is a need and where there are challenges, then they cannot intervene. And they cannot develop programs and targets that will actually address some of these challenges. In terms of executing humanitarian activities, you need a lot of data in terms of what the people are facing. Now that various sectors of Nigerian society are faced with both security, disaster, both natural and human-made. So you need a lot of information for you to guide you in the implementation of your program. So if you don't have that kind of information within your disposal, then your intervention in terms of humanitarian intervention is limited.
There are different ways in which I get public information. For instance, the news on the television. There are hardly interpreters during the news, and when there are interpreters on the news, it is only the news and then not every other thing that is happening during the day. I also get public information from sensitive places like the banks, the hospitals. But when there aren't sign language interpreters, and when places like these are not accessible for persons who are living with physical disability, it is a barrier to access public information.
Social media is a town hall of our generation. It gives young people a platform to simplify the Freedom of Information Act, shared success story, and expose challenges. With one tweet, post, or video, awareness can move from a small cycle to a national conversation. The same energy we put into trends can be directed into demanding open governance.
It will go a long way when people have easy access to records and informations, because it helps in planning. You cannot plan without information, without records, without data. So you need data, you need information order to know what to do. And otherwise, you will be deformed, as it is said that if you're not informed, you are deformed. So, in order not to be deformed, the access to information will help you to know, particularly whatever area you're running your business in. You should be able to go and find out what is going on there. Maybe the national program, international program, and the local programs. What is going on? How to get this? How to get that? Where and how?
Upon application, if the agency refuses to give the citizen that information, the citizen has the right to go to court and ask for the court to compel that organization to supply that information. There are a lot of cases that have come up where the citizens won and it was enforced.
If you look at the space in which we are operating, we're operating in a democratic setting, so to speak. And if you have a government in place, by implication, therefore, it means that they are holding in trusts for us as a people. They're holding the position they are holding in trust for us. And we should be able to hold them accountable for that trust will be bestowed upon them. And the instrument that could drive us and assist us is the Freedom of Information Act.
When there is lack of information about persons living with disabilities, it is what results in the lack of enough schools for persons living with disabilities. There are special schools for persons living with disabilities that encourages them to learn the proper way. But because of lack of information, it affects the educational life of a person living with disability. Talking about hospitals, persons living with disabilities need the Ministry of Health to provide employment for persons living with disabilities, so they can be able to understand persons living with disabilities, because they know how they live their lives every day. Sometimes persons living with disabilities don't feel comfortable because people are not aware of how to treat them and how to communicate with them. Sometimes they are impatient due to their disability, but they need persons who can be able to treat them with love and care.
Information is power, but accessible information is empowerment. With easy access, young people can make informed choice, start businesses based on government data, hold leaders accountable, and even design community solutions backed by facts rather than assumption. It transforms us from passive observers into active participants in nation building.
Very recently, there was a workshop we attended. It is sponsored by EU and conducted, facilitated by ROLAC. We attended, and then we were given enough information and capacity building on how to go about seeking for those information. Because sometimes if you don't know how to go about it, then definitely you goof. And when you goof, they will just be laughing at you and you'll not be able to access any information. Go to any court of law, you cannot access it because you didn't follow the right channel. But now that we've been taught how to go about it, how to write it, and what to do, and I think very highly empowered, to face them squarely so that we could have better governance in the state and nation.
The only information that a citizen can be deprived of is when it comes to national security. The government will not reveal such an information. But any other information should be given to a citizen upon request. So if they are not, if the government agency is not cooperative, then they will go to court and seek redress. As simple as that. If they are willing to go that route, they will be able to get enough judgment, and most government agencies will comply. Because most of the issues that we have is about compliance. Most government agencies I feel some of them don't even know about this law. So if they are informed about these laws, I'm sure that they will also comply accordingly.
The FOID is a reminder for us to hold government to accountability, to transparency. So my clarion call is, since the enactment of the Freedom of Information Act in 2011, how accessible is the document to the Nigerian population? And that's quite a key gap that some of us in the civil society space need to fill. Apart from advocating for the utilization of the Freedom of Information Act 2011, is even the document available to the people? Because that's the only instrument that the citizens of Nigeria can hold the government accountable for what they are doing to the Nigerian people. So for us at this level, is to be able to see that we're called on the government to make this document available, just like the Nigerian Constitution. It should be printed, either sold or even given to citizens free of charge for them to be able to have this document that they will use as an instrument to access information for us. And for us in the civil society piece is for us to continue to hype the advocacy, to do advocacy to various ministries, departments, and agencies of government to ensure that they live up to this mandate.
We really desire the leaders to partner with various associations of persons living with disability. They should feel free to come to them and partner with them and discuss with them. And also, leaders should do proper monitoring and evaluation. It is not just enough to put a law in place. It is important that they come back to receive feedback and then take action in places that have loopholes. If they can't contact them, they can contact the leaders of various associations. They will discuss with them, and then it helps the general public. It helps the general public of persons living with disabilities to be able to get information. And then it helps the leaders now to know more about persons living with disabilities and treat them better. Thank you very much.
We must package advocacy. Freedom of information, known as FOI, does not have to sound like legal jargons. It can be turned into creative campaigns, skits, music, graphics, podcasts, and competition. Imagine youth-led digital challenge where asking the right questions becomes trending. When advocacy meets creativity, FOI become not just a civic duty, but a lifestyle for the next generation.
Yeah, let me praise the government of Barrister Calibut from Plateau State, who graciously embraced the project on Freedom of Information Act here in Plateau State. I think one of the few states that are starting with. He has supported the program, with establishment of tax officers in MDAs, as ministry departments and agencies of government here in the state. So that's a welcome development. Just pray that they'll keep the pace, and then pray that they will open up so people could access information. It's not going to be easy for them to, but once they stand their ground, I believe it will be a game changer for the state. And for citizens like myself, in your different endeavors, ensure that you seek for information. And this day that is going to be celebrated, to mark the freedom of information globally, it's an opportunity for you to seek information, to get to know more about it and how to go about it. If you don't know how to go about it, you go to the head of service office, or you come to the civil society. You get information on how to go about it, and then you push forward, because it is your right. Don't let anybody intimidate you. Don't let anybody try to disenfranchise you. It is your right to know and to be involved in the governance of your state and the nation at large. So be bold to go look for it. Thank you.